This is the White Noise Podcast with Andy Munns and Ian Pearson.
Hello, here we are in Bishop's Mill, joined by my co-presenter, Andy Munns.
The words are in there somewhere.
Yeah, they are. I'll spit them out in a minute. Co-presenter Andy Munns, I'm Ian Pearson, and we're here for episode 2. Sorry it has been so long. We do feel a bit bad about that, don't we? But,
there's been some illness, some unavailability.
Yes, holidays, all kinds of stuff.
Life.
But we're back, and we'll try and not leave it so long next time. So, we are here for episode 2. We are joined. I'll let you introduce yourselves. We've got Peter Martin here. How you doing, Pete?
Hello, yeah. All right, Ian, thanks for the invite. Always happy to be here.
And we've got
Our returnees.
We've got the returnee Dave Drag, who wasn't going to be here, but is now.
And the return of Luke Potter.
Luke Potter. Thanks for coming along, boys. Thank you very much.
Essentially, Dom was so bad we didn't want him back.
Yeah, no.
Substitution.
An upgrade, some might say.
Yeah, that's it.
Your words, not mine.
The better looking version.
So, the last time we chatted, we were going into the Dorking FA Cup games. Things hadn't been going spectacularly well, I think it was fair to say. An improvement since then, though, I think. We'll leave the Dorking games out of it, but a not unexpected defeat at home to Torquay, then wins against Slough and Farnborough, Eastbourne away, yeah, okay, wasn't great, 2-0 loss. Dorking at home, they're a good side, aren't they, Dorking? It's always going to be a tricky one. And then 7 points from 9 with the Chippenham, Chesham and Enfield games, and we'll come on to Parkway in a minute. Your thoughts on that kind of run of games? Pete, let's start with you.
All in all, on the base of it, as you read out there, Andy, pretty positive results, really. Like you say, the games we've lost, probably on paper we'd expect to lose. Maybe the manner in which we've lost them has been a bit passive, but like you say, they're good sides. We've won the games against the sides I'd expect us to beat, to be honest. I wasn't overly impressed with either Slough or Farnborough, but I thought we played fairly well. We weren't brilliant, but we were certainly more than deserving of the wins in those games. The Chesham win, all in all, a pretty poor game, but we got the win, and that's what matters, away from home against a side that were in the top half. And then Enfield, probably I think our best performance of the season, certainly for the first 80 minutes or so. I thought we were really good. Should have been ahead by more, but actually held on quite comfortably in the end.
Yeah, I was just right in there. So I never felt nervous at the end, even though they brought a goal back. It still felt fairly secure to me. I don't know if it felt like that on the touchline, but
it did, because I think we sort of did see it out quite comfortably. A bit of play in the corner, kept the ball down in the corners, etc. They didn't really have a big chance in the last 10 minutes or so. The Chippenham point, 2-0 up against bottom of the table. Probably the game that, again, we should have been 3-4 up in, sat deep, as we have done on a fair few occasions. I don't know if the sitting deep cost us the goals, a couple of unlucky goals, maybe you could call them, or however you want to say it, but ultimately, yes, 7 points from 9, could have been 9, but from where we were, 7 points out of those 9 is pretty impressive, really.
Should we dissect those 3 most recent FA Cup League games a bit more in detail? Chippenham Town, cruising at 2-0. I think everyone was feeling quite chipper at that point, weren't they?
Yeah, I think I happened to miss the last 5 games before then because we've been away, and to come back and that be the first game that we saw, particularly the first half. You know, we were creating chances where previously we hadn't been creating chances, and I think, you know, you go back to, I know we're going back a bit, but goes back to the last edition of the podcast. We were talking about, you know, is this a poor team or is this a poor run of form, and there needs to be a corner turned. You know, can't speak for the games I missed, but it seemed to me, that first half especially, that we had turned a corner and we looked a different side to the one that had struggled to pick up anything and just weren't creating chances. I think, you know, without going too much into singling out players, you could see more of the Matty Taylor that we thought we were going to get when we signed him, and he was having much more of an impact on the game. Seemed to be way more involved in the good stuff. So I think, you know, 2-0 up, you're thinking we found something that we didn't have before, and we're potentially on the route to being a different side.
Luke, do you want to sum up that second half at Chippenham?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know the first Chippenham goal came at the end of the first half, but I think both their goals were quite fortunate. Obviously, both from corners. The first one, obviously, I think it was Tom Davies jumped up to try and head it and completely misjudged it, and it went in our own net. And then the other one, they scored straight from a corner, and
Assisted, I think.
Assisted, yeah. I don't. I think we saw the reason why Chippenham are bottom, so it was a bit disappointing to be 2-0 up and to draw the game. But then, if before that game you said over the next 3 we'll pick up 7 points, then you think, okay, well, all right, we'll take that, because I don't think any of us in our wildest dreams was expecting that. Disappointing, but overall, not too bad.
I think on the second half as well, yes, they were fairly fortunate goals that Chippenham got, but we didn't create the chances in the second half that we created in the first half. And I know Brian spoke in his interview afterwards about, not wanting the players to sit deep and telling them that at half time. The concerning thing was that started to happen in the second half. And
do you then compound that by taking Matty Taylor off and bringing Jordan N'Galo on?
You do, but I guess we don't know the circumstances.
There was attacking players on the bench.
Yes, and I had heard that Matt was struggling, which, okay, it's towards the end of his career and maybe isn't going to be able to play 90 minutes week in, week out. But if you're not wanting to sit deep, and you've got to take a striker off, at least put another striker on. And I think that was where it just felt as we had the impetus in that first half, and we just handed it back to them by maybe kind of not going to kill them off, because we clearly had players out there, and they were a poor side, and the opportunities were coming first half, and we just sort of, I think we let them back in the game.
It was heartbreaking, wasn't it?
It was. It did definitely feel that they were obviously told before the game, these guys are bottom. And the first half an hour, I thought we were really good. You were pressed them high, got the 2 goals, and then after that, like you say, the mixture of the unfortunate goal and just sitting back, we sort of got what we deserved really after that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just to echo what Andy you say about if Taylor's got to go off, we had Bray, we had Willard, we had options on the bench. I like Jordan N'Galo, but he is a defensive midfielder, and we had those options on the bench to sort of almost keep going like you were. And like you say, Dave, Brian said afterwards in his interview, I didn't tell the boys to sit back. So for me, it's either they haven't listened to you, because I think anyone that was there could see that we were definitely sitting a lot deeper. So the players either haven't listened to the manager, or he did tell them to sit back and is saying something different in an interview. And either way, at some point in that second half, can either the players on the pitch or the management themselves convey the message to say, come on boys, 10 yards higher up, let's get back to what we were in the first half. You'd like to think that somebody on the coaching staff on the touchline would be able to see what all the fans in the ground can see and have the ability to be able to affect that sort of thing, which was a little frustrating for me.
Just 4 days later, we made the trip to Chesham on the Saturday and put wrong the right.
It was a game of football. There was 2 teams out there. As I say, I think reading sort of a lot of the Chesham fans afterwards, it was their worst performance of the season. We were okay. I thought we were, nothing special, but we got the win ultimately. And when you are down near the bottom of the league, I'd take wins and poor performance, or average, scrappy wins
away from home against the side in the top half.
That we have generally struggled against a fair bit over the last. We've played them quite a lot recently, and I'd say they probably had the better end of the stick most times. So 1-0 win, job done almost, pretty much an ideal away win from my point of view in that one. So, like I say, it wasn't great, but we got the win.
It wouldn't have been a game that you'd have had 3 points against kind of a few weeks earlier and seen as an opportunity to pick up points.
I think Cheshire one of those sides who are more effective without the ball than they are with the ball. They kind of prefer to let teams have the ball and let them play in front of them.
Yeah.
But we kind of made them do that to us. We let them have the ball. There was lots of them playing it around on the halfway line and in front of us. Their penetrative football wasn't that good.
But like you said, it wasn't a classic at all. But apart from a few shots straight at Will Buse, and I think we cleared one off the line. Other than that, they didn't, and I don't know if that was, because we were so good defensively, or because they're not particularly a good team, breaking teams down, where they're sort of maybe similar to us in a way, where when they play the big teams, they're happy to sit back and then hit them on the counter attack when space opens up. But either way, 3 points, happy days.
And maybe that is, there's a bit of credit due there, in like you say that, it's all well and good their fans saying it's our worst game of the season. Why was it their worst game of the season? Was it they were just off the boil and didn't perform, or did we stop them? And you can never tell that, really, can you?
Bit of both, I think.
Yeah. I mean, some of our worst performances you look at and go, is it just we didn't turn up, or did they do a job on us and they knew exactly what to expect from us and set up to stop us doing it?
I think before the game as well, I don't know if you ever look at the other team's Facebook sometimes. Alex Horn, the guy from Taskmaster, does the videos before and after their games, and I watched the one before the game, and he said himself, we struggle against the not so good teams in the league. So
Very dare him.
So as I was heading up, I was going, well, if he's saying that, and he clearly goes to most of their games, then I think we could have a chance here if they are a team, and that's what happened. They barely created anything.
Well, I wish he'd come to the press boxes. I want to meet him.
He's a part owner, is he not?
Yes.
He's definitely involved.
Well, now we can start getting positive. Enfield Town, which, as we discussed earlier, kind of cruised through it at times, but it was a very good performance and actually really excited me. That game.
Yeah,
I thought it was brilliant.
I'd agree with that. I think first half I thought we were very good. We moved the ball around quite nicely. The weather conditions weren't great. It was quite windy, it was raining, but I thought we played some nice stuff. We were on the front foot. We had like the four attackers up front, sort of like Briggs, Hedges, Noah and Taylor, and it was sort of almost a kind of a back to basics of get the ball to the four up front and let them do what they can do, and that's what we did. We tested their keeper a good couple of times. We had 2 or 3 opportunities. We got the goal that we definitely deserved, I think, and at the other end in the first half kept them to not a lot. There was one sort of half chance for them, I think, really, but nothing overly dangerous. They had quite a lot of corners and they're a big team, but I never thought they looked like threatening from them, and we carried it on for the vast majority of the second half as well, which was good to see, actually, that we kept that pressure on. We got the second goal. We then probably should have got the third, fourth, fifth. I think it was 3 one-on-ones, 2 or 3 one-on-ones that certainly we should have scored.
There's one that definitely sticks in the mind.
The Ollie Bray one where he was running at a weird angle, almost running straight rather than in on goal, but that's probably due to confidence on his part and that. But yeah, I thought we were pretty good there, fully deserving of the win. Like you say, made it a little bit harder than we needed to, but got the result in the end.
I actually said in commentary how organised and I felt so secure at the back during that game. And I disagreed with your analysis online, although you did mention him. I gave man of the match to Tom Davis because I thought he had probably the best game I've seen him. He's had
I think
games,
he's actually
fantastic.
been quite, in the last 6 weeks or so, I'd say the experienced players, Davies, Briggs and Taylor, they're definitely been 3 of our best players, certainly.
And I think the Enfield game, you made a point earlier, Pete, about although Ian, I don't necessarily completely agree with you that I was never nervous that we'd let them back in it at 2-1.
Just too cool, mate.
It felt better than it had done previously, and I think having those experienced players still on there, Taylor in particular. You made the point earlier, Pete, about going to the corner late on. There was composure. There was kind of there was a bit of professionalism around how we were dealing with it, game management, all the kind of stuff that in the past when we played poorly, you could criticise the side for just not doing the the simple stuff to seek to close games out, we were doing it. And I think not solely having Taylor on there, but I think having somebody there that could just calm them down, get them thinking sensibly rather than panicking that we've conceded one. And how many times have we seen us in the past concede one, we sit deeper, we concede another, and it just goes from bad to worse.
Did Josh Summerson going off injured against Enfield it made me feel more nervous, that's for sure.
I think it contributed to the goal as well, because he went off 60 seconds later. The move starts down his side before we'd had chance. Not a knock on Harry Lee, who I think is quite a good player, but he'd only just come on. We hadn't quite maybe readjusted to him being off, and the move starts down that side, and the goal goes in. And yeah, I think that played a big part in potentially then, if we hadn't conceded that goal, last 10 minutes, even more comfortable than it was.
I thought Leonard, who played out on that side for Enfield, was one of their better players, and Josh Summerton dealt with him really quite well, I think. And then now I ask my question: have we taken 2 steps forward, and then on Saturday against Parkwood, taken 1 step back?
Do you mean Parkway rather than
Parkway?
Yeah. Parkway.
Yeah.
Free advertising for the leisure for the gym.
Parkway. Plymouth Parkway. Was that a step backwards?
Yeah, it's a step backwards. It's whether with the 2 steps forward it's 3 steps back or just 1 or 2 steps back, I think. We were down to the bare bones, which in itself is disappointing, considering the plan this season was to have a bigger squad, not rely on low knees. We're relying on low knees and we're still down to the bare bones, which is a bit of a concern. So yeah, I get it. I don't want to trot out the line that's come out in a fair few interviews recently, 3 games in a week, although it's 3 games in 8 days, I guess, really. But
all right.
if we're being pedantic, there were reasons for it, but it just wasn't great. We didn't look like we had the shape. I mean, and again, I guess you're limited to a small number of players. You kind of got what you got, and you've got to make something work. But we just didn't look like what we'd looked like the previous 3 games. It was back to how it was when I last saw us prior to the 7 points in 3 games. A little bit clueless, and considering we were up against albeit they looked a good side, lower level side, we should have had enough.
And they're only, I think 18th, 17th, 18th,
yeah.
so it's not like it was a top of the table side from the level below. Yeah.
And I think I certainly felt, and I know we were talking kind of pre-starting this,
Oh, you can't give that away.
Oh, not that big, not that big. Whatever you think of the trophy, to a lot of people it is important. It's a major cup competition. It's a decent chance to get deep into the competition. So we can't sort of use any excuses about it wasn't a priority. It has to be a priority. We're in more than one competition. It's got to be taken seriously, and it just felt a little bit like it was a bit deflating. It was a bit like a sort of damp squib. We thought we turned a corner, and
even before the game, obviously there was probably a reason why the lineup it was what it was, but for weeks I've been going, God, I really want to see Hedges and Willard on the pitch at the same time, because I feel like they are very similar players, and it's sort of been coming across that one starts and one will come on because they want to maybe keep that same type of player on for the whole 90. The best they can possibly do between them. And when I saw it, I thought, they're fantastic. They're both starting. I wasn't at the game, but from what I've read, it's non-existent from nearly the whole team, and unfortunately.
Yeah, one thing I would say coming out of the game is you'd think it was a real good opportunity for players that perhaps hadn't had as many minutes as they wanted. Ingalo, Bray getting a start, etc., to really impress and just go, right, this is why I should be starting. And I don't think anyone took that opportunity to sort of say, I know it's only one game, you're coming in, let's say a couple of changes, a few different players not there, but as a player coming in that hasn't got the minutes they would want, you have to take every chance you can to impress. And I didn't really feel like anyone did sort of make a case for why they should be playing more than potentially they have been, which was a bit frustrating from my point of view, I think.
Yeah, we're talking about kind of maybe an enforced lineup there. I see Andy's got a note about injuries here. I don't know if anybody I wasn't at the game at Plymouth Parkway. If anybody picked up any knocks that day, but yeah, certainly we're missing a few. Josh Sutton being one of them, a bit of a key absence as well.
Yeah, obviously, losing your captain and one of your best players, it's going to be a blow. It didn't seem like anyone.
Hedgie went down late on, and it looked to be the foot. But and it did look bad to start with. He spent a while down, but then he did get up and he was back running again. So hopefully that's not anything that's going to kind of be an issue longer term. But because we can do without any more.
And who else is missing at the minute?
Taylor was ill, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Taylor was ill.
Taylor was ill.
Grubb's had an injury that he's coming back from. I believe Jordan Ngalo's been carrying a knock as well.
Yeah, Keogh had a fitness test at half time. Despite the fact that he came back out at Enfield and was obviously fine, but I don't think he's 100% fit.
And when you're down to Theo Lewis and a couple of under-18s on the bench, clearly there's issues with the squad.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just used to, I think now we just keep Theo Lewis on the bench forever because
he's our mascot.
I feel like we'll miss him dearly.
I'm not sure he's too happy about it, but there we go. He's always there if required. I'll let you ask that one.
Well, I've got written Ollie Bray. Thoughts
so far. He was a bit unlucky, I think, to get an injury pre-season when he did, which is obviously going to impact on how your season starts. I've been a bit, I don't know if maybe frustrated is the right word, because you look at him and he's
got the attributes, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's 6'3", he's got pace, he's got power. He should be everything you want in a striker. It hasn't quite clicked for him yet. He's not had the game time he would have liked. But one thing I did find on Saturday was he seemed to spend a lot of, certainly the first half, playing wide on the left with Noah playing more through the middle. And maybe he is more of a wide player but I was under the impression when we signed him that he was a striker, and that was his role, and it almost seemed like he was a bit wasted out wide, and I wanted him down the middle, running at the centre halves, winning headers, causing problems, picking up chances in the box. Yet, aside from the Enfield chance, 1-1, that he certainly should have scored, I can't really remember him in all the games we've played actually missing a chance, because he hasn't had a chance. Whether or not
there was one in the Chippenham game, he came on and he caught it really, really well, and almost too well, because the keeper held on to it. But you feel like it's one of those where if you didn't maybe catch it quite as well, it might have made the keeper work a bit more. Apart from that.
Yeah, he's not had, whether or not that's...
He had two on Saturday.
Well, yeah.
He had one very early on.
He
had one very early on that he really should have scored. And then he got one with his head in the second half, didn't he?
But he's not missed loads of chances because he hasn't had them. Yeah. Whether or not that's down to players not creating for him or him not being in the right position to be created for, etc., is probably a bit of both.
That might be a possibility, because that's why I felt with Matty Taylor when he hadn't scored for so long. I was thinking, well, this guy's banged in how many goals in the Football League? Like, you don't just lose it overnight. And it was I was thinking, is it the service?
I'm going to bring up the old C word, confidence. Yeah. I was careful there. Confidence. It's a big thing with all footballers, but especially strikers, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're not feeling it, it soon drifts away, doesn't it?
You just need one to
as a striker myself. I know all about it.
You just need one to go in off your bum or off your face or something, and then you got.
That's why I scored all mine.
and since Matty Taylor's grabbed his first, which I don't think he'd even say was his finest finish in his career, he's looked like a different player.
But again,
as does Matt Briggs.
But I think Taylor looked as if that was starting to happen before he scored his first goal. In fairness, he was starting to become that player, and maybe
I think it's when starting the season, a lot of the time he was playing almost as a lone striker, and he's a good player, but he's not a lone striker. And like I say, in the last few weeks, we've almost played a 4-2-4 formation of 4 at the back, Keir and Tustin generally in the midfield, and a mixture of the four up front: Willard, Hedges, Coppin, Taylor, Bray, Briggs, etc. Grubb when he's fit, and I think that's benefited Taylor massively. He's had players up there with him. Yeah. He's not had to do all the running on his own. So
balls into the box as well.
Exactly, balls are coming in. Like the finish at Enfield, I thought was a really good finish from him. Quick free kick.
It was a really clever free kick, wasn't it?
Clever free kick.
Actually, I said in commentary, I said, really, why are we doing everything so slowly? And then all of a sudden the ball went down the left-hand side. Briggs cross in, goal, boom.
Taylor getting across his defender just to flick it in as well. I thought that was a really good fit that not all strikers would have scored, for sure. And that maybe a month ago he doesn't score that, but he's got the confidence. He's got a bit more confidence now, and he looks more like the player we thought we were getting.
That's what I said earlier, but I feel it was a lot to do with the service. So we have switched up the way we're playing, and he's got a strike partner, as it were, or just more people up there around him. It's now coincided with him scoring goals. And like I said, as a striker, when you're struggling, you just want anything to go in. And like you said, the Chippenham one, it wasn't his greatest goal, but it's got the ball rolling now.
Supplementary question on Ollie Bray then: do we think we signed him as a kind of big man to the small man to work with Matty Taylor?
You know, it was the Laverstock friendly. I think that was the first time I saw it where, obviously, no disrespect to Laverstock, I think they sit 3 leagues below. But when I was watching, he was holding his defender, he was holding it up, bringing players in. I'm thinking that's why we've signed him. And for whatever reason, like you said, the injury, it's just, you know, it obviously scarpered the plans. That was the idea maybe to start off with at the start of the season, and for whatever reason now we're not chucking him into any of the games. He's not getting many minutes. Because we're happy with, you know, Taylor, Briggs, Hedges or Willard, and Coppin, and yeah.
And I'd agree with that in terms of Ollie. I think where my head went to around this whole conversation about goals, strikers, you know, is it? I won't say more of a big problem than the individuals, but is it a bigger situation than the individuals? Because, you know, you look at the side under Dutz. Since he's come in, we have historically been good at the back, and we've not conceded a huge amount of goals. Scoring has been the problem, and you know, I'm not saying that Callum and Dutz playing as defensive-minded players, they don't know how to coach a side attacking-wise, but you know, you consistently look at the league table in terms of the goals for and the goals against column. We are up there with the top 5 or 6 in terms of goals conceded, and we've always got one of the best, but I'm struggling to think of a striker who has come in and has had potential and has got loads better. You know, you look at Rafa Ramos. You know, actually, Rafa, kind of what I expected him to be, is a little bit what I expected Ollie to be. You know, big guy, pace, power, can do something that we haven't necessarily had. But yet you still look at that goals for column, we're struggling again.
It's one of those where, like you said, I think going into the end of last season, the us being so good defensively was the reason why we were sort of in the driving seat, was staying up. It's almost like, can we keep that sort of defensive stability,
but create more chances,
or do we have to sacrifice it?
When we look our best, it's when we're actually creating chances.
When we play on the front foot and we get the ball up to players in the final third of the pitch, we've got the players, I think, to be able to score goals. Whether or not we've got a 25 goal a season striker, probably not, but we've got
5-10 goal a season strikers.
Exactly, yeah. We've got Hedges, we've got Willard, we've got Coppin, we've got Briggs, who I would expect all of them to be able to get in the double figures, certainly. And then you add in Taylor, 15, 18 goals, etc., maybe something like that, then yeah.
Who's our top scorer at the moment this season?
Probably Matt Briggs, isn't it, I think?
3?
Probably Noah, I reckon.
It's on 2 or 3, I think. Noah after the 2 penalties on Saturday, if you include cup games.
Like you say, historically, under Dutz, even the year we won promotion from the Southern Prem, don't get me wrong, I love Dan Fitcher. He's been one of my favourite Salisbury players over the years for old club and new club. Yeah. But he was not a prolific striker. He was brilliant as a foil when he had Hedges and Noah either side of him, but we didn't score loads of goals that season. Last season, we tried a couple of players, we brought in a few different players. we end up going back to Dan in the latter half of the season, and again, he did what he does brilliantly.
Yeah.
But what he does isn't score loads of goals.
He was a great pressing forward, wasn't he?
Yeah. Brilliant. Like I say, I love it.
Could we do a player like Dan Fitchett right now to be the foil to Matty Taylor and 2 others?
I think we've got to move past it.
A player like
Dan,
Yeah.
Theo Lewis on the bench,
I
Dan
don't
Fitchett up front.
Bring back Ryan Brett as well. He was playing for Parkway the other day.
had a good game apparently as well.
Does your reaction there, Pete, not say kind of maybe what the issue is we don't actually know how we're trying to work in that half of the pitch. You know, it might be the answer, Andy, but we don't know because we don't know what we're trying to do. When it comes off, it works. When it doesn't come off, we don't. All we can say when it doesn't come off is we're not on the front foot. But how
Pete's
are we?
most typed phrase this season so far, I think.
I do love that. I'm all about the front foot, definitely. But to me, the front foot is high intensity, pressing high up the pitch if we can, getting the ball forward into dangerous areas as quickly as possible. Because I'll always say it, at this level of football, you can't sit and defend for 90 minutes because the players, with the greatest respect, simply aren't good enough to defend. Premier League players aren't good enough to defend for 90 minutes. So what chance have National South players got? So I'll always say the best, in my opinion, the best way to be is get the ball up the pitch. We've got players up the pitch who can do something out of nothing. We've seen that. Willard, I've seen do some really good stuff. Hedges, we know about. Noah, run his socks off. We'll work hard. We'll create opportunities. We'll win a penalty. Briggs, proven quality at this level. Taylor, etc. So let's get the ball to them and let them do what they do whilst maintaining that solidity at the back, which I actually think in the last 4 or 5 games,
Excluding the game on Saturday.
Oh, excluding the game on Saturday, but then we're missing Josh Summerton, who's a big part of our defence there, and you've then got Davies, Morgan, and Revan, who've played 3 lots of 90 minutes in 8 days, as Dave would say, and so you could sort of understand perhaps if there's a slight drop off there, but generally we've looked pretty solid. Hughes has been good in goal, I think, one of our best players this season.
Agree.
So the basis there, it's just can we then unlock the potential higher up the pitch? How do we do that? I'm not sure really. I mean, you could say if we get the ball up there, then we've got more chance of doing it than if we don't get the ball up there.
I think, like I say, like when we've got, even with the small squad we've got, when they're all fit, I think we have a really good starting 11. But the problem with a small squad is that it only takes sort of 2 or 3 injuries, and then all of a sudden you're sort of up against it.
I think a good starting 11 with a fairly good bench as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
But beyond that kind of 16, 17...
Particularly if, what have we got, 3 loanees at the moment? 3, 4?
Tustin, Morgan, Lee.
One of them's dual registered.
Yeah, dual registered. Yeah, so 2 loanees, 1 dual registered.
And considering we didn't want to be in this place, I mean, but there we go.
Should we look forward a little bit? 5 more games until we get to Christmas.
Yeah.
What would, as a supporter, what would tick your box over those next 5? And the next 3 are not easy games. Chelmsford, Maidenhead, Maidstone.
And I know the next 2 after that, because I've looked through.
Bath City's the last one before Christmas.
Hemel.
And Hemel
and Bath.
So none of them easy games. Going to Twerton Park's never easy.
I'm going to be optimistic. Try and be optimistic here. If you look at it, Chelmsford are in the second round of the cup.
Yeah,
they've got Western in that. They've got a very good chance to progress through to the so potentially their minds are elsewhere. Exactly. Their focus might not 100% be on Salisbury. I mean, I'm probably going to batter us 5-0 now. I've said that, but hopefully, so there might be an opportunity there. And then Maidenhead, I think it's 4 in a row in the league they've lost. They lost in the trophy on Saturday. They're not in great form at all. They're only 2-3 points ahead of us in the league, I think. So there's, again, maybe could we get something there? Then you're looking at Maidstone. I'll be surprised if we get it there. They look a good side. It's a tough place to go. But then we gave them a good run up their place last year. What I thought was one of our best performances, albeit in a loss, but there was a good performance. Hemel, who knows with Hemel, they're a very up and down side, and then Bath, we always lose to Bath, so we'll write that one off. So we'll go 7 points, shall we, from the next 5?
I think we take that.
Yeah.
I'd say anything above 5 would be
I was going to say 6.
okay.
So there you are.
Yeah, I think we're looking at 5, 6, 7 points, aren't we? And I think, given the fact that we got a 6-point gap to the bottom 4 at the moment, if we can pick up 5, 6, 7 points between now and Christmas, we should still be outside of the bottom 4 come Christmas. Anything above that, we've obviously had a good last 5 before Christmas.
Trying to stick on the positivity train, and again, I think someone made a comment about, well, now we're out of the trophy, we can focus on, and I know you sort of say, well, why not focus on both, which I completely get. Like a cup run's really important, but now we're out, you might as well say it. We're going to have a 2-week break before Bath, and that comes at a really busy time. So you got Bath, then Boxing Day, then a game on like the 29th, 30th, something like that. I think that's Western. And then the New Year's game. So maybe if we've still got a thin squad at that point, to have a 2-week break.
It actually feels less congested over the Christmas period than it does some
Yeah,
years. I thought looking at the fixtures we've kind of got and how they're spread out, it doesn't feel as intense.
Yeah,
So
I'm just trying to turn that weekend off of
It's because of where
positive.
Christmas falls on, I think it's a Thursday this year, so Boxing Day on the Friday or the... So normally you'd have perhaps Boxing Day on the Wednesday, then a game on the Saturday, then the New Year's game, etc. So
I was just going to mention Boxing Day. Hopefully we'll have another podcast before this, but mouthwatering tie at home, AFC Tottenham. Looking forward to that.
let's not try and force a rivalry with them. They're not a proper club. We can't really have them as a rival, really.
As long as we finish above them.
Are they dropping like a stone then, are they soon?
They're not. They're struggling a little bit. I think they've been
a very
found
good
out
start,
a little bit. They'd had a really good start, didn't they?
Anyway, it is a rivalry because we want to pack the Mac.
Big it up.
Big derby game. God, the A36 derby.
That's Bath, isn't it?
The A36 southbound derby.
I'm looking forward to it. Anyway,
I'm always looking forward to it. But
lowest Boxing Day game. That's what you get at non-league. Stick with it. So fans forum coming up on Monday. That was announced today. I guess you'll all be trying to attend.
So if I can get a ticket. Limited to 100.
Hot cakes and all that.
So sadly, I can't make it. But
Anyway, moving on.
I said it before we started recording. I really want to know why we've stopped putting the team news on Facebook. I only have Facebook. I try to stay away from social media as much as possible. And I don't expect score updates. I don't expect all bells and whistles. It'd be nice just to have the team news because I can keep up to date with the scores from Flash Score or whatever.
I'll ask that one.
Or the excellent commentary.
I'll ask that one.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Or the excellent commentary.
The excellent commentary.
Yeah.
Two big lads keeping you updated, but I'm sure if the media team will have a look at this, and I'm sure they'll take that on board. I don't think you're the only person that's mentioned that either. Maybe a team sheet and a half-time and full-time would be great if they can do it.
Please.
So what do you think people are going to be asked? What do you think the burning subjects are, especially for Ali? Because since the fans forum at the start of the season, obviously he's in and out of the country, what are people going to want to know from him now? Not to pre-warn him.
Well, from my point of view, it'd be things like how happy is he with how things are going, what have been the biggest challenges that he's found.
Is that both on and off the pitch?
Yeah, on and off the pitch. What have been the biggest challenges that he's found in terms of running a club? Because I think it's the first club he's ever run before, so it's obviously all different.
Lots of experience on Football Manager though, Pete, come on.
Yeah, we all have, but that's Football Manager, not Chairman Manager or whatever.
Fair.
And a ground update as well. I did hear some potentially positive news regarding the ground, but obviously I imagine he'll have potentially more to update if he can, and how moving forward with the club, where he wants to move forward with the club. Now he's been in charge near enough 6 months or so. in terms of like the day-to-day running of the club from a sporting point of view, but also from a business point of view, what he's looking at doing, pretty much, would be certainly questions I'd be asking.
And we'll be asking.
I imagine I might ask one or two, yeah.
I think linked to that as well, just going into the kind of off the field stuff. Clearly, when Ali first arrived, one of the big things he was talking about is about the social media presence and that kind of thing. And I think it's been very evident how much has been going on kind of overseas from that perspective, and there's been a lot of a push on. I know there was a big bunch of Kuwaiti, I think they were Kuwaiti influencers or friends of his that came over and had a match on the pitch and that kind of stuff recently. And I think maybe there'll be some questions around the kind of balance between UK-based social media presence and kind of publicity versus that, and kind of how much has that kind of brought into the club, the overseas stuff, versus perhaps opportunities that we might be missing out in the UK. So that'll be one thing. And from an on-field point of view, I guess there's bound to be questions about squad size, recruitment, that kind of thing, because it was one of the big things that was said kind of initially. We're not going to have this small squad. We're not going to be relying on loanees. We've seen both of those things happen.
Followed up with like you said, the social media, like they said, it was going to be improved a lot, and I feel like Facebook maybe has taken a bit of a back seat.
You love your Facebook.
I do. That's all I'm on.
I know.
That's how I keep up to date. I'm sorry. And the other one was that you said about the budget. I think the same comments come up a few times now, where they've gone, the reason we're in the place we are with the squad is because the budget wasn't signed off until sort of midway through the pre-season or whatever it was. And okay, well,
when we'd already signed Willard, Bray, a couple of others,
and the big point was made at the announcement of Ali, kind of thanking Ali for making that budget available ahead of its arrival.
Yeah,
so,
but if we're going down that we're taking that out, what they're saying. So if we are, touch wood, lucky enough to be in this division next year, then are we going to have even a similar budget or even bigger budget and longer to use it as well in the build up to pre-season and next season?
On the media side, I'm not going to mention too much about the departure of Mr. Munns, but they brought Dave Mullins in, who has certainly spiced things up. He's working his little socks off, bless him, and he's producing some really good content. We've got Dexter now producing graphics, which I think in the last 4 weeks have got far better, and I think Toby does chip in, although he's not meant to. But yeah, there's
stuff going on.
Team now.
I guess it feels like a lot from Ali's perspective is going into that overseas stuff, and we don't hear a lot.
Like a separate team,
potentially a separate team, but I guess
you want some Ali love as well.
Not some Ali love. I just kind of want it rather than a forum 3-4 months after we've announced a new owner. It'd be good to have, because I know he's doing like a weekly podcast over there, and talking. I'm considering signing up for Arabic on Duolingo just because I want to know what Ali's saying on a weekly basis. But
I managed to translate it the other day using a bit of AI.
I saw that.
I'm not the AI generation. I'm a bit old. Well, same age as you, but you're
ChatGPT.
1979.
But you're media savvy, Ian.
I've got to defend my media friends over here. I think they are doing really well. They picked up and at short notice, and they're running with it really, really well.
And I just want to make the point.
I know what you mean. At times it doesn't always feel local.
It's no criticism of the media team in the UK. It's more a case of kind of and okay, we've got a forum on Monday and we'll get to hear from Ali, and I think that's great. I think being present in the country isn't necessary to kind of be present online for fans, and I think whether it's just he hasn't been asked or whether it's
he's welcome on the White Noise podcast anytime.
Absolutely.
I just want to make clear that I am kind of on the peripheries of the media team, but I don't count myself when I was backing them up there. It was the guys that are there all the time.
We just wanted to be a success, like on the pitch, off the pitch, everything. And I'm sure they are working hard, and that's when we do say, well, why isn't this happening? We don't mean that in a criticism. We just want it to be the best it can possibly be.
And I think as fans, we probably want to know everything. and sometimes things that Ali,
Too much.
well, again.
Like a team sheet.
I think the vast majority of...
All right, Luke.
Well, the vast
Get on
majority the vast majority of people who may have clicked follow on the Salisbury FC Arabic page will have seen this bunch of guys on the pitch doing something that was just kind of...
And Toby scoring a goal.
Well, a bit different, and actually, clearly that's being done for social media overseas. Is there something that can be done for social media over here? Just explain what that's about, because I don't know whether people got it really. You'll know it's going on because anyone can see the Arabic account, but unless you kind of it's not criticism, but it's a comment that I think might get raised at the forum.
Maybe pull the two together.
Yeah.
One question I think that might be burning in some people's mind, looking at the amount of full-time teams in this league, and that might be, to get out of this league, do we need to push that button about going full-time?
Do we need a ground before that though?
Possibly.
Because I think that was mentioned when I was
chicken
first
and egg
came
sometimes,
in.
isn't it?
As in, like buying the current ground or building a new one. Sorry.
I think the easiest way to get our own ground. Well, I say easiest way.
Is
I'm
to
not
buy the
involved
Romac.
in it. There's a ground there that we're playing on at the moment that's ready for us to move into. I think the comment that was made right the way back at the beginning of the season is, in order to be able to train full time, we need somewhere to train, and short of finding somewhere that we don't think exists to be on day in, day out, we need a pitch to train on. And
what about going 4G if we do the rain?
Exactly, and I think that then gives the opportunity to train full time, doesn't it?
I think if they did buy the Raymac and put it to 4G, I think the next step maybe would be hybrids, because there might be a few players that we could attract that are part time but are still really, really good players. I think
We potentially lose someone like Matt Briggs if you go
exactly. So I think that if I had to put money on it, I would expect that's the way they would go.
Well, Football League loanees as well. I mean, you're going to develop them quicker. Again, money out of the question for us. But you look at someone like Liam Sercombe, who's gone to Western-super-Mare. It's a full-time player at Forest Green. They're going to want him to be training full-time.
Yeah, I think long-term this league you'll pretty much have to be full-time. But having said that, you look at the bottom of the league, Eastbourne down there, Dagenham are full-time. I think Slough are a bit of a mixture of Farnborough. I'm not quite sure, but so it's not a guarantee.
No, it's not.
No.
What it does do is, like you say, it gives you the opportunity to work a lot more in training on things, because we often, I quite often say about patterns of play and this, that and the other, but when you've only got a couple of hours on a Thursday, like you say, inevitably quite often you're playing on a Tuesday.
Well, by the time you've watched the video back of the previous week's game, that's your session done, isn't it?
Yeah, you do a warm-up, you might do an hour, and then you do your cool-down or something. So that's where I think that will come into play. But then you also have to be careful, because oftentimes, and going years back, the best part-time players are better than the worst full-time players, and we would potentially be in the market for some of the lower-end full-time players. So are you then, someone like Josh Summerton, for instance, is Josh going to want to turn full-time? I don't know his personal situation, but I think he's got a fairly decent job, so would you potentially then lose him? So I think it's something that would have to be managed over time, I think.
Yeah, that's rather going hybrids would probably make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than just say as of next summer, June the 1st, we're now a full-time side with full-time players. I don't know.
I think we're about to wrap it up, are we? So I'll pass you that one. I'll nick that one. We know what we're doing here. We know what we're doing.
Just about.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us, guys, and thank you for everybody watching. Don't forget the fans forum on Monday. This should be out before Monday. I'm guessing you've got time to edit.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. We'll see how it goes. If not, Monday was great.
And that 5-0 win against Chelmsford. God, what a result that was.
Huge thanks to the Bishop's Mill, who have hosted us today. Absolutely brilliant of them. We've got a lovely spot up here. And it's hopefully picking up a bit of the atmosphere in the background. It just adds a little bit of something. I think it's hopefully, as this grows, more of you will join us. I'll not turn the camera around because nobody has tonight, just the guys on the panel here. But yeah, it'd be great if people did join us in the future, and you could sit there and be quiet, that's fine, just watch. Or
But
you
yeah,
can-
sit there and be quiet.
You can have your say. We will pass the microphone round. You can have a have
Turn
a
it
say
into a
as
bit
well.
like question time.
Yeah,
Something
why
like
not?
that, yeah. Well,
And,
maybe,
and it would be nice for others to volunteer to come and sit here rather than me and Luke.
It's almost full
it,
time
was-
for you guys. now.
it was very short notice this time round.
It's starting to feel like a presenter here. There's 4 of us presenting, interviewing Pete.
Special guest Pete Martin. Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks to these guys.
Yeah, thank
Cheers,
you.
thanks for having me on.
Cheers, and goodbye.
There you go. Let's go and see if the cameras are still on.
Yeah, I was thinking that as we were talking. I was thinking, it's amazing.
That's 1. That's 2.
Oh, love it.
And that's 3.